So you want to work at Revolut, you and a lot of other people. It's one of the fastest growing, most disruptive fintech companies out there, and for a ton of people, it's the dream job. But here's the thing, getting in is tough, like really tough. So in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you exactly what it takes to join their team. All right, just to give you an idea of what we're talking about here, check this number out. 1.6 million. That's how many people applied for a job at Revolut in just 1 year. I mean, think about that. It's not just a number, it's a tidal wave of resumes, of hopefuls, all wanting that one spot. The scale of the competition is, well, it's just insane.
So yeah, that's the million-dollar question, right? How in the world do you stand out in a crowd that big? How do you convince them that you're the one they've been looking for? Well, the secret isn't in your resume, not at first. It's about getting inside the company's head, understanding their DNA.
Okay, so before you even polish up your CV, you've got to understand the why. Why does Revolut exist? What makes them tick? Because their entire hiring process, every single step, is a mirror of their core philosophy. And that philosophy is all about a high-performance culture that drives, well, everything.
And this quote, this says it all. This is the heart of their dream team philosophy. Look, they're not trying to be a family. They see themselves as an elite sports team. Every single person is an all-star player, and they're expected to bring their A-game every single day. The goal isn't just to be on the field, it's to win championships. And that brings us to this idea they have, the 10x person. Now, this isn't about working 10 times the hours. That's not it. It's about having 10 times the impact. They're looking for people who don't just check boxes. They totally change the game. People who think bigger on a whole different level.
So how do they build this team of 10x people? It all comes down to these 5 core values. And you really got to pay attention to these because they're not just some fluffy words on a wall. No, this is the scorecard they're going to judge you by in your interview. Never settle, dream team, get it done. You'll need to prove you live and breathe this stuff.
Let's just take one of them, deliver wow. What does that actually mean? Well, it means you're completely obsessed with the customer. You're creating things, products, experiences that are so unbelievably good, people just say, wow. It's about setting a whole new standard, not just meeting the old one.
All right, so we've got the mindset down. We know the why. Now let's get into the what. How does all this culture talk actually play out in the interview? What's the journey really look like when you hit that apply button?
Okay, get ready, because this isn't your typical one-and-done interview. It's more like a gauntlet, usually 4 or 5 stages. And it's designed to test you from every possible angle. Your skills, sure, but also how you think, how you solve problems, and, you guessed it, if you fit into that dream team culture.
First up, you'll probably face an online assessment. This is basically the computer's way of filtering for the essential skills. No emotion, just raw data. If you make it past the machine, then you get to talk to a human, the recruiter screening. This is a quick, maybe 20-30 minute chat to see if you're on the same page about the role and your motivation. Now, if you get through that, this is where things really heat up. The middle stages are intense. You've got the technical interview, which is a super deep dive into what you know. Then, there's usually a case study or some kind of live challenge. This is where you have to stop telling them how you do it and start showing them right there in real time.
And all of that, all those hoops you jump through, it all leads to this, the final boss. This is the last and honestly the most critical stage of the whole thing. This is where the final call is made. It's called the bar raiser interview. And it's pretty unique. The person interviewing you is a senior employee, but from a totally different department. Why? Because their job isn't to recheck your technical skills. They've only got one question to answer. Will hiring this person make our company, as a whole, better? Will you raise the bar?
And you can hear it straight from the CEO, Nick Storonsky. They're not just looking to fill a position, not just for another set of hands. They're looking for a force multiplier. That's someone who comes in and makes everyone around them better, more effective, someone who elevates the entire team.
So how do you prove you're that person? Well, the bar raiser is looking for very specific things. They're going to poke and prod at your sense of ownership, how you solve tricky problems, how you take feedback, and just how big your ambition really is. Every question is a test, tying right back to those 5 core values we talked about. Now, here's a pro tip, and it comes straight from Revolut themselves. Use the STAR framework to structure your answers. It's simple. What was the situation? What was the task? What specific action did you take? And what was the measurable result? This method forces you to be clear, concise, and focused on impact, which is exactly what they want to see. And you can bet you'll get questions just like these. They're all behavioral, designed to get you to talk about your past experiences. When you hear, "Tell me about a time when," that's your cue. It's time to launch into one of those perfectly practiced star stories that shows off a core value.
So, we've gone through the whole thing, the culture, the intense process, that final bar raiser interview, and it all boils down to one simple but really important question you need to ask yourself.
Look, Revolut has built this entire system for one reason: to find the top 1%, the absolute best of the best, the force multipliers, the 10x people. So now that you know what it takes, the big question isn't just for them to answer anymore. It's for you. Are you one of them?